All right, guys, we've got another vanilla fragrances video for you today. And keep in mind, these are pulled from my long-form deep dive video on vanilla fragrances. 3 hours long, 100 fragrances. And I usually go and pull segments or portions from those videos and air them individually, edited as well, as the deep dive videos are not edited. But today we're talking about indie, niche, artistic, experimental vanilla fragrances. Are you a fan of this style? This was the last category in the deep dive video of vanilla fragrances that I aired a couple months ago. And some of these are really, really awesome. You're going to want to check out what these are. So yeah, today, indie, niche, artistic, experimental vanilla fragrances. But also, I want to highlight ScentFest SF for you guys as well. In case you haven't heard about it, I would really love for you to come and experience ScentFest SF here in San Francisco on June 26, 27, and 28. This is happening around the same time as the World Perfumery Congress, happening in Monterey, California, the Business of Beauty Global Forum in Napa Valley, and ScentFest SF in San Francisco. We've got an awesome venue that we have secured overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge and Alcatraz and on the San Francisco Bay. It's a historic venue. It's an awesome venue, and I would love to have you guys come and, as I said, experience this awesome new show that we are doing for the first time on the West Coast of the United States. Anyway, see you guys here for ScentFest SF. Now we're talking about indie, niche, artistic, and experimental vanilla fragrances. First of which is Imaginary Authors with Memoirs of a Trespasser. So Memoirs of a Trespasser to me reminds me of a vanillic take on Patchouli from Le Labo. Texture acts just like it. It's resinous and ambery. Lots of resins here. In fact, there's ambrette seeds, but there's a lot of myrrh and benzoin along with guaiac wood. So it's very woody, it's very resinous, very musky, and of course vanillic because it is in the end a vanilla. It also comes off a bit boozy, but I think it's a fragrance that I've grown to enjoy more and more. It might be the most popular offering from the house, and it's Gourmand, but I wouldn't say this is super duper like cakey, coconutty, yummy kind of Gourmand. It's definitely more mature, very dark, woody, and resinous. So that's Imaginary Authors, Memoirs of a Trespasser. Then we're going to the house of Laboratorio Olfattivo. It's VANAGLORIA, similar to Baby Cat, which I spoke about earlier in the designer section of the video. And this is Dominique Ropion once again. It's vanilla with incense, olibanum resin, frankincense, peppery spices, saffron, and suede leather, or leather in general. So it's a bit churchy, it's a bit sweet, it's dry and spicy and leathery for sure. And smoky too, with the resinous notes of olibanum, frankincense, incense, those kind of notes. Which one do you prefer, VANAGLORIA or Baby Cat? Let me know. Add a comment below. I'd like to find out which you prefer. I think it's a matter of what works best for you. That's what I hear. Some people say VANAGLORIA, some people say Baby Cat. And have you guys heard if Baby Cat is getting the extract treatment? Because I know they're launching, or if they haven't launched by the time this video airs, Tuxedo in extract and also Blouse in extract. So I'm assuming Baby Cat will come as an extract next as well. Do you guys want that? Anyway, let's move on to the next fragrance. We're going to the house of Parfums DUSITA. It's a TONKA latte. So I think this has become a massive hit for Parfums DUSITA. And it goes to show people love gourmands. This is a very sweet, honeyed, bitter, almondy, nutty, milky, lactonic Gourmand, but very overdosed with the vanilla. To me, it acts a bit like Bianco latte, but it has the tonka and almonds overdosed. You have a little bit of tonka latte in here because it's got that milky, foamy kind of velvety smoothness, but lots of bitter almonds. This also has a honeyed touch that Bianco latte doesn't have. I would think that the two fragrances could also be layered together. Bianco latte and tonka latte. I layer tonka latte with vanilla sex because vanilla sex is kind of like nougat, almond nougat, and this has an almondy effect, so it intensifies and makes the vanilla sex a bit more milky, lactonic, and makes this a bit more bitter, almondy because the vanilla sex is quite nutty and almondy. On their own, they're great. But I think these are also the types of fragrances you can layer with. Sometimes I find fragrances unlayerable because they are so complex. Like something like Ani from Nishane. Although, as I was mentioning earlier, you can layer it with something like Tigar because I feel like I get a Tigar-like feel in there because of those top notes. So I feel like you can do that. but sometimes there's some, like she also did, Cecile Zarokian also did Material. I feel like I can't layer anything with that fragrance because it's so resin heavy. It's so base heavy. That's the word. It's almost like you can't do it. Like maybe if it's like 1 or 2 or 3 notes in the base or it doesn't come off that complex, you can. But Material is so overly complex you can't. But I feel like Tonka Latte is perfect to layer with, especially Vanilla Sex, because I find that they complement one another. And now that I'm talking about it here now with Tonka Latte, I think you can also layer it with Bianco Latte and you would intensify the milkiness because there's similarities with the milky qualities. But as I was saying, the Bianco Latte is more vanilla, foamy, kind of velvety, smooth, milky. This is more nutty, so it could enhance one another and make Tonka Latte to be a bit more milky. Giving you a little bit of advice on layering. But on its own, Tonka Latte is super delicious. Let's see what she comes up with next. Although, if you caught my video with her shot here in the studio, she did mention, well, she brought in a sample of something tea. I feel like it's a tea fragrance, which didn't act like a tea. It was very sexy. So let's see what she launches next. But let's move on to the next fragrance from the house of Room 1015. It's Electric Wood Extrait de Parfum. This would have gone into the woody category because it is electric wood. The name has the word wood in it, but it is very vanillic. It's very vanillic and smooth. I never cared for the original, by the way. I didn't really care for the original. I felt like the original Electric Wood was such a boring fragrance. It didn't do it for me. It got discontinued and all of a sudden they launched this and it's like, wow, night and day difference. It's created by Jérôme de Marino from the House of Man and he does great work. Like he's done some really amazing fragrances and he's been working with NUIT NOMADE as well, and NUIT NOMADE Estrella de la Mañana is super awesome, which we'll get to here in the same category of indie niche artistic and experimental fragrance, vanilla fragrances. But Electric Wood, to me, it's a smooth vanilla, lots of woody notes, but also creamy, very velvety smooth like the previous, but not milky, just velvety smooth. And you do have a little dusting of chocolate here, very like maybe more like cacao, and then also a bit of caramelly stickiness. But I mean, it's not a gourmand, but it might be considered a gourmand light. It's very vanillic though. Electric Wood Extrait de Parfum from the house of Room 1015. It's interesting, as I was saying, I didn't care for the original and I really love the perfumers that created the original, but I didn't care for the Electric Wood original. It was just boring, I felt. This is really awesome. Okay, let's move on to the house of Sarah Baker. She has 2 vanilla fragrances back to back that she launched. She first launched Velvet Vendetta. Now she's launched Vava Vanilla. And as I was saying earlier, Vava Vanilla is in our latest Scent Club kit right there. Vava Vanilla is quite yum, but there's also Librata Morphe from Hellenist and there's also Liquor BPM from L'Orchestra. But let's talk about Vava Vanilla first. I've been wearing quite a bit of it. I'm addicted to it and I love the perfumer she's used for this fragrance, Vava Vanilla. It's Margot Lepai-Goran, perfumer over at Flair. Flair is a perfume house, independent perfume house of indie female perfumers. And this is somewhat musky, a little fruity, boozy. And again, it's not your traditional vanilla that's uber gourmand, but it's, you know, it's kind of in that area, kind of teasing us a little bit, but it doesn't quite go there. But it's quite delicious and it wears great on skin. It's long lasting. It's super sexy, the DNA that Margot Lepai-Goran uses in her fragrances. She also did Gianni by SORA DORA, by the way. So she works at this firm called Flair, and you can totally tell the DNA of the perfumes that they create. So awesome. Vava Vanilla, don't forget to take advantage of the kit. We have that in the info box. And then I'm going to talk about Velvet Vendetta as well. It's the Vanilla Trilogy by Sarah Baker, but vanilla going in different directions. Let's see what the third one's going to be like. This one to me is a bit more daring, a bit more musky and adventurous. It has that kind of gunpowdery effect. It's a bit boozy once again, but this might be a bit more polarizing. It has a little bit of animalic funk, but not quite. And I think also, even though Sarah Baker hasn't ever worked with Margot before, I think the DNA matches Sarah Baker, like totally. Like a brand has a DNA and I pick up the Sarah Baker fragrances DNA more in Velvet Vendetta than Vava Vanilla, but also in Vava Vanilla as well. Let me know your thoughts on these two fragrances from Sarah Baker, Velvet Vendetta and Vava Vanilla. Do you like them? And again, Vava Vanilla is in our latest kit, so check that out. I have it linked here. Up next, going to the house of SORA DORA. Speaking of SORA DORA, this is Orchidee Rouge. Wow, the juice has gotten red. I never noticed the juice being that red before. Whoa. It's vanilla, so that's what happens. It gets dark. It's quite red here. You see that? Orchidee Rouge is created by Amélie Bourgeois, who's also at Flair, a perfume house of independent female perfumers. It's a vanilla that's a bit boozy, a bit fruity. It's a bit red, not too much. I think there's a slight bit of fruitiness in here that's creating that red effect, but I wouldn't say this is super duper red. It's just a nice, elegant take on vanilla. Spicy, woody, a little caramelly, lightly fruity, and ambery woody in the base. It might come off a bit subdued, but it is an extrait de parfum. It's quite long lasting, but it's a bit subdued. I think it's a bit personal. It does say parfum concentration on the bottom, but that's Orchidee Rouge from the house of SORA DORA. Then we've got Tower Perfumes Vanille Absolue, formerly known as Vanilla Flash. Vanilla Flash is no longer. Now we've got Vanilla Absolue. It does remind me of Vanilla Flash. Vanilla Flash I wore so much of. In fact, I still have a bottle, but my sprayer, the hose that's inside has fallen off, so it can't spray, unfortunately. But I have this now. It's totally the Tower Perfumes DNA. It's a great evolution from Rose Flash, which the Rose Absolue is also available. I felt like Rose Flash evolved into becoming Vanilla Flash, and they have a little bit of rose in here, but they add a lot of vanilla, and it's basically the same DNA but with a lot of vanilla, if that makes sense. But it's so super awesome. If you like that spicy, sticky, caramelly vanilla with the Tower Perfumes DNA or the Towerade, you've got to get your nose on this fragrance. It's so awesome. It reminds me of a little bit of other Tower Perfumes fragrances as well. We're going to go on to the last fragrance, going to the house of NUIT NOMADE. This is the indie niche artistic experimental vanilla category. This is Estrella de la Mañana. Estrella de la Mañana was a love at first sniff. I actually got a preview it before it launched, and instantly it reminded me of leather, but because it has all these dark, kind of leathery, smoky notes. And you know, there's the gourmand notes of vanilla in here and a little bit of cacao, and I think it gets very ambery, but there's these dark, smoky, kind of woody notes in here that makes it super duper, you know, very dark and resinous and leathery. So is it a gourmand? I wouldn't say so. I think a true gourmand lover will not like this one. To me, it also reminds me of the base of Chemin de Monde, which is a fragrance that we have in our previous Scent Club kit, 17. Chemin de Monde is basically the same base to me, the vanilla, the chocolate thing, but the smoky note has been removed and it's been covered up with almonds. And they also have the brand note that's in the Chemin de Monde. I get similarities between the two. Obviously, they're not identical because of, you know, other notes that are featured in each of the fragrances, but when you smell what's past that dark, smoky, leathery note, it reminds me a little bit of Chemin de Monde. But that's Estrella de la Mañana, part of the indie niche artistic experimental vanilla collection of fragrances. Thanks so much for watching that video, guys. Are you a fan of the style, as I said? Let me know if you have a favorite. Let me know if any of the ones I spoke about today are your favorites. Maybe you don't like them, maybe you love them. Let me know, add a comment below. And what's missing in this category? There are some out there that might be missing, and I'd like to find out what it is. Do add that comment so I can check and perhaps add to my collection. But otherwise, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like the video, please share it away so that it helps with the algorithm and more people will find out about the video and the channel. And also ScentFest SF, please share anything you can to anybody you know that might be interested in ScentFest SF. Let them find out about it as well. And hopefully you guys will come and your friends and acquaintances will come as well. And also lastly, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Click the bell icon and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.